Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Osha.
Let's start episode 185 of Ask Vidas and Osha podcast. This question was sent by Leon, and he writes, Dear Vidas, I have a ways to go before I'm ready for BWV 531 by Bach, let alone Franck's Finale. Thanks to one of your recent podcasts, I have added the applicatio to my Dupré chorale time each day. I had already changed his heel and toe pedals to toe only. When the applicatio is comfortable, I will change the fingering. My skills are generally improving, but I had still been resisting putting in 4 hours a day. From a recent discussion with my brother, I was reminded that I could have done more back in high school if I had followed our then teacher's advice to practice 4 hours a day. Writing up new practice schedule now, thanks. Osha, do you regret of not playing 4 hours a day when you were first starting playing the organ? Or maybe you did play 4 hours a day?
Not every day, but sometimes, yes, I would play 4 hours a day.
How did you feel afterwards?
Well, I felt good, but of course I didn't have a possibility, to play and to practice every day for 4 hours on the organ because I did not have an access to the instrument.
What's the average time would you suggest people might practice every day? Depending on their schedule, health condition, and availability of the instrument.
Well, no, I think the best way would be to practice for 2 hours, but 1 hour is already good. So everything depends on the, your way of life and
And your goals?
yes, and your goals.
It's hard to tell precisely for everyone, but probably the most efficient way of practicing I found is depending on your own plans and goals, that you would play at least 3 times, each fragment or each piece. You would have enough time. So, for example, if I'm practicing really slowly and I'm playing, let's say, 5 pieces at the moment, and if those 5 pieces take about maybe half an hour to play totally, so I would maybe practice 90 minutes, with some breaks in between, maybe, in order to be able to repeat everything 3 times, at least 3 times. How does it sound for you, Osha?
Yes, it sounds perfectly fine.
And what would be the incorrect way of practicing, scheduling your practice? Too much or too less time?
Both these, ways would be wrong. You need always to practice as much as your head can still guide you. Because the mind, what you are thinking is the most important. Because if you just play, to break up some records, I don't know, or to make some records that, today I practiced for 6 hours straight. That's a wrong way, of practicing.
What happens tomorrow, right? You are exhausted.
Yes, I know. And plus, if you practice too much, it means that you just are doing mechanical work without much thinking. And it's never good.
Mm-hmm. So, 2 hours is probably optimum time. Right?
Yes, I would say so.
So in my case, for example, if I can play a few of my pieces 3 times, right? Or more, maybe 5 times. So I might play a little bit more than 2 hours, but then I am careful and take breaks, frequent breaks, drink a glass of water in between, have a walk, stretch, things like that to refresh my mind.
Yes. I wish I would have time, to practice every day for 2 hours.
Would you practice if you had?
Yes, I would.
How much time would you practice if you had all the time in the world?
I think I would practice more than 2 hours. 3 maybe.
3. That's a lot.
Yes.
You can do a lot of things in 3 hours.
Well, every day I spend a lot of time at the keyboard, but unfortunately, instead of practicing what I need to practice for my organ, things, I just, play dictations for my students at school.
Could you devise your dictations based on your pieces?
Probably not.
Like I do
No,
sometimes?
I don't think, administration would be happy about it.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I choose segments or even variations from my pieces that I'm playing right now at the moment, and especially if I haven't practiced that day that I'm teaching, and I say, "Oh guys, now there will be dictation in 2 parts. Right hand in the treble clef and the bass clef will be played by the left hand. Let's say we'll have like 20 measures, not 8 measures, but long dictation." And I would play for them like 10 times or 20 times.
And are we able to write it down?
Oh, that's a good question. Something like this, the soprano voice, yes, but when it comes to the bass clef, they generally are lost. Yeah.
Because, when I'm giving them like Christmas dictations based on Christmas carols, some of them that we know well, some of them we can write down, but if it's a little bit more sophisticated, then it's all we cannot, finish it.
Why do you think the second voice is so difficult to hear for them?
Well, for those who play just a melodic instrument like flute or violin, I think we are not used to hearing the bass line. For like piano majors or choir conducting majors, that's an easier way to write a bass. Or for somebody who plays cello or trombone.
But even people who play cello, they cannot really think in 2 parts. They just hear
Well,
their own voice.
for kids, it's often a case that we can write down what we can sing. I mean, what it's in their voice range, in their diapason. So, and usually because kids have a high voice, and we can sing in the first and then second octave, but not so much, in the lower octaves, in the bass range. So, and because the second voice is in those low octaves.
Do you think that some of our organ students around the globe are writing dictations too, based on their organ works, let's say?
I don't know. And honestly, the longer I live, the less I think, that the writing down dictations improves your ear so much.
Why?
I think there are better ways how to improve your hearing and
Oh,
your pitch.
you know a secret? Tell us.
Well, I think actually that singing what you are playing improves it a lot, and playing organ improves it a lot. Because let's say, for example, pianist plays Bach's fugue on the piano, and let's say three voices, three parts fugue. So the theme comes, and he can play it louder, and other voice not so loud. And when another theme comes in, and he can also to play it forte. or louder than other voices. But in the organ, we don't have that possibility. For example, you're playing the fugue by Bach, and you play it organo pleno. How can you, make one voice sound louder than another voice?
Then you need to hear it.
Yes, you need to hear it. Of course,
Listen to it.
Of course, we need to articulate it, but definitely you need to hear it. And how can you hear it if all four voices sounds loud, equally loud?
Would singing each part help?
Yes, it helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced of it.
So, guys, whenever you have some quality time at the organ, consider singing some of the inner parts, especially, and not playing necessarily all other parts, but just, let's say, one additional voice, like in two-part combinations, or just maybe for starters, just a single line, right? Especially if you know the melody well, you should be able to repeat it with your voice.
Yes, and I'm convinced if you can sing, all the voices, you can play them too.
Mm-hmm. That's a good advice. I think we sing not enough in this age and day.
Well, that's because we have, iPods and MP3 things and smartphones and all that audio technique.
Which sings for us.
Yes, and plays for us too.
Mm-hmm. Back in Bach's day, probably they didn't have any other options to entertain themselves but to sing and play.
That's right. Even not as far back. Even when my parents were young, for example, they would go dancing each weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and we did not have recordings, and at that time in the villages, so we have to play themselves.
And making music together with other members of the family or your friends, it's so rewarding. It strengthens probably your connection with those people. Like you become closer, basically.
That's true.
Would you, Ausha, recommend our students making music together with their family members, let's say?
That's a lot of fun if you have opportunity, If you have family members that can sing or play an instrument, you definitely have to make music together.
Like we do on the organ bench, we sit and we play together with four hands. Is it fun for you, or you feel some pressure?
Well, yes, it's fun.
You don't feel like a pressure from me, or I don't feel pressure from you?
I don't feel a pressure from you. I don't know about you. Maybe you feel pressure from me.
Stupid question. I know.
I enjoy playing together.
So why don't we now go and practice together,
Yes.
organ duets, and you guys do the same, right? If you find a friend on the street, grab him or her and bring them to church or wherever and practice some Bach. Thanks, guys. This was Vidas.
And Ausha.
Remember to send us your questions. We love helping you grow. And don't forget to practice, because when you practice,
Miracles happen.